Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk Conquest Last Argument of Kings, and today we're going to talk about one box set you should grab to start your Conquest Last Argument of Kings, or indeed, Conquest First Blood force. Now, we're not going to talk about starter faction boxes and all of that, because sometimes those boxes are too big a leap for someone to jump into a brand new game. And so today, instead, we're going to talk about one particular box that's going to give you an idea of what each faction is all about, how they sort of look, what they can do on the tabletop, and all of that. A very basic unit for each faction you can pick up to be your first purchase that will serve you well through time with that faction. And so we're going to go through each of the Conquest armies and talk about these box sets, talk about what they give you, what they are, how easy they are to paint, and, you know, all of that sort of basic information. So if you're just getting into Conquest and you don't know, you want to pick up one box set and potentially not spend a lot on like an army box and all that in case you're not fond of the units, the models, etc., pick up this one box set. This will be a great place to start for the faction of your choice. So with that said, let's get cracking on. We're going to go through all the 5 current available factions for Conquest and talk about one box set you should get for each army in the game. And so, starting off with the Dewaycom, we're going to suggest Hold Balliste. Now, the reason I suggest Hold Balliste over any of the other options, I do think Dewaycom like to be a little bit more shooty. They've got quite a few shooting options through the army, and I think the overall look and aesthetic of these really gives you a feel for what you're going to get with a Dewaycom force. So they are a light infantry unit, and I'd probably always suggest picking up a light unit first, because when you start playing games of First Blood and Conquest and all that, your light units come in earlier, so you're definitely going to want to start building your force around light units to begin with. They are a shooting unit. They've got a barrage of 1 at 24 inch, which means they contribute 1 attack per model to your overall volley action, and armor piercing 1 is nice as well, negating your opponent's defense. Shields also will give you +1 defense against attacks originating from your unit's front arc as well, which is a really nice rule. And they've also got the option for additional command models on top of the champion and standard bearer, such as different heralds, priest, and if your army includes at least 1 hold ref. So if you're looking at the other video we did talking about a character to pick up first, you definitely can do this because we suggest the hold ref. To start with, you can also include a Minimancer apprentice. Oh, some really cool characterful command models you can throw in. I really do love this about Conquest, how you have all these really cool extra command models you can throw into units. Is pretty cool. The unit itself is pretty basic in design, and by command models, it shouldn't take too much effort to paint. Armor, wood, and cloth do make up the majority of textures, along with metal, obviously. Being, you know, armor, metal, same thing, really. And so they're really the 3 main things. You can paint up this unit pretty quick. They give you an overall aesthetic feel of what Dewaycom are all about. Yeah, for me, this is the perfect unit to start with for the Dewaycom. And so, moving on to the 100 Kingdoms, Militia are going to be our suggestion. They're a light infantry unit, and they are cheap as chips as well. You can get quite a few Militia on the table for a pretty decently cheap points of value. Now, the support 1 rule they get means they can contribute extra attacks with unengaged stands to a fight, which is pretty cool, meaning large units of Militia work really well. And the shield rule is going to give the unit +1 defense against all attacks originating from the front arc of the unit. Some cool bonuses there, just some good defense. Now, a big reason we suggest them, obviously, they're a light infantry. Men-at-arms are certainly another option that's going to be an aesthetic choice to really get you started with your army. But I feel with the medium choice, maybe Militia are the better way to go to start with. Now, this unit has the option for command models outside the champion and standard bearer, such as a Servite, Errant of the Order of the Shield, and Neophyte. There's some additional models you can bring in to the unit. And the unit is pretty easy to paint. Very few different textures on the model. Washes and quick shades like Contrast Paint from Games Workshop's line, or indeed the Army Painter Quick Shades will paint up this unit in an absolute flash. Thanks to all the depth, you'll be able to get all those nice little patchy sort of patterns you can see on the models there, done really quickly with some of those quick shade washing things that a couple of companies produce. Moving on to the Nords, and we chose Raiders as the unit we suggest them picking up first. First of all, they're a light class infantry unit, so this works great for making sure they can enter the table early, and your first unit is one that's actually going to arrive on the table nice and early during the game. Look at a couple of cool special rules for the Raiders. First of all is throwing weapons where they inflict impact hits regardless of type and class of the unit. Which is pretty cool. And then they also got the flurry ability as well, which gives them rerolls to all failed hit rolls for any clash actions they choose to make during the game, which is pretty cool. Next up, you've got the options for a shield biter and a captain, in addition to the normal leader and standard bearer upgrades, which is really cool. The captain models are especially really cool models. Really love them. And then painting wise for this unit, they've got large areas of flesh, cloth and fur or hair, all of which can be painted up really easily with just basic techniques like base wash, dry brush, or even just base wash, or using something like contrast or something like that. Army Painter, Quick Shade, etc. will do these models a lot of justice really quickly and really easily. Moving on to the Spires, and Force-Grown Drones are definitely the unit to suggest picking up first. A light infantry unit that really benefits from having a lot of different characters around it. They can be regrown and stuff like that from things like the character we mentioned in the other book, the Ferromancer and stuff like that, and the Biomancer can all do great benefits on this unit. Pretty cheap as well. Now, they've got shields, so they get +1 defense against attacks coming from units' front arc, which is nice, and also support enables unengaged stands to contribute extra attacks to clash actions they make, which is pretty nice. Many large units of these are pretty solid. They've got a couple of unique sort of upgrades. So the Pheromonic Node upgrade combines both the profiles for the leader and the standard bearer all in one, and then they can also take a Catabolic Node command model, which can do a once per game attack and then remove itself from play. So a pretty cool like little sort of bomb or once per game sort of self-destructive unit upgrade for itself. Unit-wise, they are super easy to paint. Quick shade methods, so like contrast and army painter quick shades, will paint these models up in an absolute flash. And lastly, for the Wadrun, I'm going to recommend Slingers. They're a light infantry unit, and one of the few that the Wadrun do have available, but I do think they're a pretty solid choice. So Barrage 1 with 20 inch with armor piercing is a really solid sort of ability. Torrential Fire also is amazing. So when this unit's shooting at anything that's not long range, they'll generate an additional hit for each successful hit, which is pretty good, so they can really start to pile on those hit rolls. You can have a leader and some other special and useful additional commander models like a bullet carver and skirmisher, which allow for some movement. And the bullet carver also allows you to inflict morale tests and morale saves against your ranged attacks, which is really nice. Painting wise, green skin is so much more forgiving and easier to paint than regular human skin tones, whether that is light or darker shades of human skin tones. Green skin is just so easy. You base coat green, you can wash, it looks so much more effective, so much more easily than your more traditional skin tones that you see. And then you've got plenty of other different textures, but none of them are really all that hard to paint, with furs, feathers, and cloth and bindings, all of that coming together really simply and easily to make this unit really easy to paint. But that is our 5 suggestions for each of the different factions for Conquest Last Argument of Kings. Don't forget you can use the discount code in the video's description there to get 10% off anything on the Parabellum eStore, and that'll go a long way to helping the channel continue to produce Conquest Last Arguments of Kings content. Well, thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, if you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here, you can do so by joining our Discord server, which is linked down in the description of the video. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel more financially, you can do so either by joining our Patreon or YouTube members, of which you'll find both the links of both of them down in the video's description as well. As a special thank you to everyone who does support the channel via Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give a shout out to them all. So a special thanks to our Patreons, Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater and Samuel. And a special shout out to our YouTube members as well: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Rollis, Ronya, Vinny, Lockloric, the Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Sean Scott, DS, and Ariana Edwards. And a special thanks lastly to, first of all, Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you can see pictured here for the channel. And a special shout out to Xmorphic, who does all the amazing background work for our Discord server. You're both absolute legends. Thank you all for watching once again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe everyone, stay well. Most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.